Welcome to Real, Awake, and Wild. My name is Monique Gomez, and I am your guide to becoming spiritually embodied, learning all about conscious sexuality, and awakening to the truth of who you are. This week, we're talking about how what you focus on shapes your reality. So here's the deal. You need to start paying attention to what you're focusing on, because what you focus on determines your reality. This relates to how you feel in your body, to your relationships, and your overall sexual expression. One of my favorite guides is Tony Robbins. And in his trainings, he teaches that there are three patterns of focus that humans go through. Okay. So we have a choice of what we want to focus on. So the first pattern of focus is what you have or what you're missing. Okay. Usually folks focus on what is missing. If you're always focused on what's missing, then you'll never be happy or really feel fulfilled. This relates to people who, I work with body image or not feeling good enough, right? Or how you feel in your body. If you're focusing on what's missing, like not being a certain size, then you miss the fact that you actually are feeling really healthy. Okay. So if you're focused on, oh, wow, I feel really healthy, then what is missing doesn't really matter, the size, the number. Okay. So that's just a quick example of what the two difference of this pattern of focus is. So what you have or what you're missing. The second pattern of focus is you can focus on what you can control or what you can't control. So for example, if I can control what I put into my body, but I cannot control how tall I am, focusing on what I can't control is going to drive me crazy, right? It's going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to wear heels, I'm trying to be taller, or I'm trying to be shorter. It makes no sense. But if I focus on, okay, I can control what I put in my body so I can feel healthy and alive and energetic, I can control that. Okay. I take power. I am empowered because I am focusing on what I can control and letting go and not putting focus on what I cannot control. Okay. So the third one is, do you focus on the past, the present, or the future? This one's really interesting. And if you think about it with your body in mind, if you are struggling with body image or something like in the body realm, if we are focusing on the past body of yours, for example, the 16-year-old self, right? The 16-year-old body, and you're focusing and trying to get back there, and you're like, oh man, when I was at my prime, like those kinds of words are relating on the past. You're focusing on the past. Not so helpful. If you focus on the present, then you're like, oh wow, okay, how am I today in my body? Getting real with what's really happening in the present gives you opportunities to create the future. So if you focus on the future too much, then that can also cause an imbalance because you will just keep putting these goals or these, it will create stress, right? Because you'll have some kind of idea or goal of what your future holds. So focusing on the present is the most embodied way to go about this. So all of the ways we choose to focus determine what is created in our reality. Now, before you start listing all the reasons why your life is the way it is, I want to just say, I'm sure there's a ton of reasons that your life is looking the way it is today. But I also want to invite you to explore the idea of what you're focusing on. Just explore it. Wow, am I really focusing on the body that I used to have or the body that I wish I had? Or am I focusing on the body that I have? And what can I control out of this? So ask yourself those things. Recently, I was struggling with something similar in my life. I was feeling out of control, insecure about so many things, and just completely stressed out. And I was focused a lot on my business, right? Like trying to create this business. And I was focusing on all the things that were missing or that I was failing at, all the goals I haven't reached yet. I was focusing on my peers and comparing myself and what they're doing. And I was feeling more and more like a failure and like a fake. And I gave my focus over to the feeling of failure, which in turn got me incredibly stuck and depressed. Then I had to take some sort of action, right? Because when you're feeling stuck, action creates movement. And that's the only thing that's going to get you out of that stuck place. So I reached out to someone who helped me remember what my real passion and goals are. And that is to be a voice in women's sexual health into the whole body perspective. And when I came back to that focus, it was my heart. I came back to the focus of now. I came back to this truth within me. Okay. And that is the truest place. And I was able to refocus and reframe how I was experiencing my life, especially in the realm of my business. All right. So this also works in relationship, and I've had to use it in relationship as well. If you're focusing on everything your partner is doing wrong or who they need to be for you to be happy, or feeling like it's just the wrong match and you're focusing on all the things wrong, then you might want to try to refocus. Okay, so understanding maybe the feeling that's under this, right? So if you start seeing, oh, actually, what do they have? Oh, what is it that I'm feeling? Like, for example, you might not feeling seen in your partnership, right? Or that you don't have any control of something that you really want control over. These are the things to get curious about. And when you get to the root of that feeling, then you can change what you're focusing on, and that changes everything else. So you have an opportunity to take action. Okay. So maybe that action is having an honest conversation when when you're not in your emotional spiral, right? So you have an honest conversation with your partner when you're feeling like present and here and you're not in the spiral. Maybe you need to be heard in a whole new way that you didn't realize until you started to readjust your focus. So get curious about what you're focusing on during your day. This is not to change anything to positive thinking messaging. Okay. I'm not here to be like, be positive, think positive, because I think that there's a detriment to that as well. This is about getting real. This is about what is really going on with where your mind is and where it's going, and noticing it without any judgment. Just notice it. Like, oh, wow, my mind is really focusing on what I don't have right now. Oh, let me see if I can just readjust the focus, right? It's about getting real. This is about seeing things as they are and not worse or better than they are. This is about valuing the realness of your life situation. And that means that you can shift and make different choices in how you want to focus. So this week, I invite you for your inner reflection is to really ask yourself, what do you tend to focus on? You know, out of the 3 patterns of focus, which one do you tend to go towards? And then what message does that focus create for you? So when you start focusing on what is missing in your body, then that usually means something. So, oh, I'm not good enough, right? Or, oh, I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not lovable, all these things. So this is a very intimate practice. You can do it on your inner journal. If you feel like sharing, definitely, I would love to hear from you, and just let me know what your answers in and what you're finding out in the comment box below. And also head over to MoniqueGomez.com for more on embodiment, conscious sexuality, and awakening to your authentic self. And when you're there, if you haven't already signed up for my email list, I would invite you to do so, because you get to get more inspirations, more freebies, and just a bunch of love that I don't get to share anywhere else but there. I hope you enjoy this one. Really redirect focus, and I will see you next time. Stay curious, my friend.